Hey guys, welcome to this video. Thanks for checking out this content. We're going to jump straight into how to write a blog faster. And these blogs aren't just any blogs. You're going to be able to write SEO friendly blogs. I'll take you through so you're looking over my shoulder. And whether you're using Wix, WordPress, Squarespace, it doesn't matter. You can input this into Yoast. You can really do this with just about anything. But I'm going to take you through the step-by-step process, the framework, and how at DeepBridge Consulting I'm able to produce so much content so fast. And I'm actually going to start the countdown timer. You'll see you can get 1,000 words out in 60 minutes or less, and it's very possible. So let's get in the video, take a look back over my shoulder, and let's talk about it, and let's get you growing and writing content faster. Thanks, guys. Okay, so today we're going to talk briefly, and then I'm going to get straight into the screen about how to write blogs and how to write them efficiently. And so there's a lot of ways that you could be writing blogs. You could be writing cornerstone content, which cornerstone content is more about, it's usually your long form content, which you're going to try to rank first. And ranking first, there's a lot of studies out there that show the length of copy is what drives it, but it's not necessarily the length of copy. I mean, yes, that's a direct driver and influence and input, but it's not, you can't just say, well, the average is 1,900. Well, that may be true that the average length of posts that are ranked first is that number, but it all has to do with what's in your industry. And at the end of the day, ranking first has to do with Google rewarding you for producing a highly valuable piece of content. Yes, it's unlikely that a 300-word article is going to be ranking better than things that providing much more information at longer lengths. But if you're in an industry where that's there's not a lot of content out there, which you'd be in a good situation if you're already writing, then that's you could write shorter content, and that's exactly what we're doing. So today we're going to be talking about a microblader who's trying to, who's actually a beauty artist, and she also does lashes as well. So we're going to be talking about the difference between lash extension and lash lifts. Now, when you start your blogs, you should be doing your research. So we keep a big list of things for each client that works with us as to what they should be talking about or what they could be talking about, and that's based on your biggest problems. So get a piece of paper out and write down what are the biggest problems, and problems from the client's perspective, not your perspective. Don't write what you think the problem is, write what they think the problem is in their words. Each one of those things, as long as they don't ladder up into something else and you create something bigger, each one of those things can be a blog post. So today we're talking about lash extensions and what the difference is actually between lifts. And I'm not a habitual lash lift getter, so this is perfect because I can show you that even when you're not steeped into the industry, whatever you're doing, if you're not the person who's even using the information, there's still ways to write this content, and there's a formula and there's a proven method. So it starts with, number one, get your keywords. Number two, you should essentially be writing out what is your intro, like your first line of copy, and then the next thing you want to do after you write your first line, you then want to write your actual answer. And sometimes we italicize it, we make it bold. It depends on what we're actually talking about, how long it is. But you want to immediately, before you even write the meat and potatoes, what's the question, what's the answer? Because that reminds you to always be going back. And step three is then what are the sub-bullets, the subcomponents that answer that larger question at play. And those are the basic pillars of how you write this content. And so I'm going to actually go in, I'm going to let you show me the screen, and you can see it's a blinking cursor. I haven't rig this or anything like that. So I'm going to actually just use the screen. I've got one screen just for research above, so I can look stuff up, but I'll let you see how I'm typing this. We can get a countdown going, and then I'll show you how long this takes. But yeah, it doesn't take very long, so I'm going to let you just watch from here on out. So I'll pop back in when it's time to explain something. And just so you see that I'm not making this up, Alexa, what time is it?
It's 3:21 p.m.
So now we got a timestamp. So let's see how long this takes.
Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
So the one thing that I will, depending on how it went. So as you can see here, I've got the answer, the question, and then the subheadings. depending on how it went, I can even sometimes I'll even sometimes write the conclusion beforehand, and it makes sure that I stay focused. And as I was writing, and I would advise that you do that. As I was writing this, I felt very comfortable, just looking at some research and just answering this from the general high level. But I feel very comfortable. I can wait. It seems like I'm going to have a pretty good indication. Have a pretty good indication of how this is going to go already. And the one thing I didn't say before was you never want to. My general rules: you never want to go under 500 words if you're going to be posting this. So I'm already at 169. Again, that's light. For this client, for this specific situation, I'm not looking to write thousands of words. And normally I would try to get to 4 digits, even if I have to do 1,001. But you want to get to 1,000 ideally. But at the bare minimum, you want to get 500. And if you're just building content, just aim at something that's reasonable. So start at 500. And if you do this method, you could probably build this out a little bit more. And by the time the conclusion's written, you've got 200 of the 500 words. So with that said, I've got my subheadings listed out, and my subheadings: how long is the appointment? How long do they last? What is the maintenance like? Price difference, and how long is the appointment? Well, that's already in there. So these were the 4 main questions that I noticed were being asked the most when I was looking online and looking up what people talk about and ask. So as you can see, I'm about 20 minutes in or something like that. So I want to make sure to go ahead and keep rolling. But yeah, my goal is to try to get to about 30 minutes. And the one trick I do here after I do this, I polish it all up. But if I'm very comfortable, I'll go ahead and just do text to speech. And the reason I write in Google Docs is because, in my opinion, they have the best text to speech the best text to speech software in the market. So I may not do it for this because I don't know how to mess with the recording. But what you would do is you would just go to Tools while you're in a Google Doc, Tools, Voice Typing, and you would go ahead and click here. So when I go ahead and click here, I have a really nice microphone that's set up. Usually I talk a little bit slower, but for the purpose of this conversation and for this tutorial, I want to talk very fast, and I want to see if it picks it all up, period. So if you say period, it'll actually add in period for you, but you have to say period. So there you go. There's a couple mistakes there, but that's when you go back and you relook it all up. So as you can tell, just right here, just me talking for about 60 seconds. We'll see how many words I get. I probably get close to about 100, 200. I tend to talk a little bit faster if it's about something I'm knowledgeable or passionate about. But again, we're just testing this out to see how it goes. So let's see what we did. So even as I finished, it went back and kind of edited a couple things. So it's, in my opinion, it's very good. And if you're someone who doesn't really like to write, this is a really good alternative, and then you just have to go clean it up. So my words, I've got 140 there, and what I just did in about 2 minutes, whereas I had 169 and it took me 20. See what I mean? So that's a little pro tip I use, and this works really well for transcriptions. So if you've got, if I, I just recently uploaded a new video. So what I want to do is, because I've got my new video here, sometimes I like adding my transcribed video. I like to add transcriptions to my videos just for SEO purposes. But let's say, so I just uploaded this, and what I would do is I would click play, and once I clicked play, I would start talking, and I would click text to speech right before I click play, and as I'm talking, I'd make sure the microphone is close enough to whatever my speaker was, and it would basically pick all that up and do it for me. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. It looked like it was successful. It didn't interfere with the video too much, so hopefully it doesn't, but I'm going to go ahead and try that, and we'll pick back up here in a second. So let's see how I do. I personally don't like this part because I like the control of typing. I enjoy typing and writing. So talking kind of makes me, I don't like looking at what I'm doing, so I might close my eyes, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so after kind of looking at this and kind of thinking over it, this will happen. If you find yourself, this is why I don't like to speak on it, is because when I'm speaking on it in my head, I'm just going to let things out. And so I've woven each of the subheadings in here. So what I'm going to do now is just spend a couple minutes and I'm going to break it all up. But now that I know what I'm talking about in my head, as I just talk this while it's fresh, I'm actually going to drop down to the conclusion and I'm going to type that out. So once I type this out, I'll move up and I'll start breaking. So I started to delete these subheadings, these H2 headings, and I actually ended up keeping them. And I kept them because I'm actually going to break Your subheadings, your H2 subheadings are super important to SEO, especially if you're working with Yoast and WordPress. So I prefer Yoast and WordPress. I think it's silly not to work with Yoast and WordPress if you have a blog. But if you're really trying to blow out your SEO and your content services, your content creation, we would recommend you start with WordPress. And there's tons of videos out there that kind of teach you how to set this up, start to finish. But I think the thing that matters the most is you play nice with Google and Yoast, which Yoast is the backend plug. It's like basically the maintenance custodian on the actual blog itself, and it's best friends with Google, and it makes sure that everything you do on your blog, it will compartmentalize and organize things for you. So when it's time to submit it, you're actually, I think you're actually doing what Google wants. Think of it like your accountant, right? You can actually go do your taxes yourself, or you can do your financial records yourself, but your accountant is much more privy to what's going on in terms of auditing or the financial regulations of the industry or tax codes, wherever the case may be. They know what's happening, so they can actually, it's not just about the information, it's about positioning the information. And it's just like hiring DeepBridge. Sure, you can write your own content, but wouldn't you want to write your content according to what's best to maximize what you're doing? So Yoast does that for you. And so H2 subheadings is basically, these are your subheaders. H1 is your title, and these are the ones that matter the most. So making sure that you have in H1, first of all, it should have your keywords. So this is about lash lift and extensions. This is the time we started. So I need to make, these are my lash lift versus lash extensions, because this is exactly what the customer says. And now I have a decision to make when I make my H1 is, do I actually use the word verse and use exact match? Or that's a tough choice, because if I use exact match, they have to type this in or I won't get hits. So the point is, pick these carefully and make sure your keywords. So this is my H1, so I'll just write title for the sake of this video, but that's my H1. These are my subheaders, and I'll break these up, and then I'll write my conclusion, and then you'll see where I'm at. So let me write this really quick, and we'll call time. Okay, great. So that's it. Let's actually look at our word count. So I'll probably go ahead and add 44 more words to get it to just an even 1,000. But as you can see here, let's see what time it is. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 4:05 p.m.
4:05. So just about 45 minutes to write 1,000 words. And, I'm just going to polish it up and clean it. I've got everything here and then some. So I'll probably just add a couple words to get it to where, to about 1,000, just because I'm a completionist. I probably won't even do that. But as you can see here, I've got my title, my question, the answer paragraph. And so when I've got, what might actually take me over the top is an engaging lead. But I'll make sure to start this as high as possible with the keywords and work these in, because that helps your ranking. And I'll start with make sure, I'm getting an engaging lead. The point of any blog is to get them to read the title. Well, really the meta description on Google, have them click. Once they click through, get them to read the first sentence, the first paragraph, the body, and then the body finish. So as you write it, you got to remember, you've got to overcome these barriers. Just because someone clicks something doesn't mean they're not going to abandon it, because you can almost rest assured they are going to abandon it. So you got to keep their attention. Be very mindful as you're writing of, is this something I care about? Is this something I would be interested in? You have to get their attention and be interesting, even with topics that may not be the most interesting. So that's what you have to remember when you're writing this, but always be sure to get your question out, answer that question so you have your general structure and you stay focused. And before you start writing your headers, which again gets you really off topic, which is why we can be so efficient with our time, and this will 100% 1,000 words under an hour. Very possible, as you can see. I'm not someone who's often getting this eyelash extensions and lifts done. I'm familiar, but after 15 minutes of research, 30 minutes of writing, 15 minutes of cleaning up, this will be pretty easy. So get your answers down, get your headings down, and then you can be very efficient and go ahead and start picking things off. So as you can see, this might work better for you. I like to type, but I didn't, I'm going to keep this in because it's a good example of some people prefer to type. I like the structure. I can essentially type as fast as I've got a kinesis, so you can't see it, but I'm not going to fix it because it might not go back to normal. But I can type as fast as I talk, so I prefer that. But this might work for you, and I want to show you that neat little trick that not a lot of people know about, and it's even more effective for transcribing. So for SEO purposes, and if you just want to talk, put those words on your site for SEO to build your content. So I went ahead and wrote my conclusion. Make sure to internal link 1 to 3 times in each of your blogs. And that's linking within your website. You got to remember, I'm pasting this to the actual on the interface. I'm going to the website and pasting this. So when I do, have to make sure this copy's over correctly. But you want to start and make sure that the blog has a good picture, and then maybe add some supporting pictures a couple times. But other than that, you should be good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up, but we'll call time 45 minutes about. And that's how you create this stuff. And if you have any questions, reach out. You can go to deepbridgeconsulting.com. We've got tons of content. You can go on YouTube and find our content. If you type in DeepBridge Consulting, we've got actionable audio, serious profit for serious marketers. That's our podcast. And deep_bridge is our Instagram. So we've got tons of content. We've got a lot of stuff and ways to help you, but don't subscribe. I'm not even going to ask you to. Unless we earn it, don't do it. That's not what we're here for. We're here to help. So if this helps, then just keep checking out our content. When you feel like we've earned a sub, go ahead and do that. But if not, just make sure to check out our stuff. Hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss anything. But we look forward to proving our worth and value, and making sure that DeepBridge Consulting takes you further with your content and make more advocates of your customers. So thanks for checking this out, guys. And we got more coming up soon. So hopefully you like the peek under the hood, and we will talk to you shortly. Thanks.